You realized you made a mistake. Were you stupid? No. Should you regret it? No. I'm going to tell you why. Hi, my name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am a woman in leadership, emotional intelligence coach. Welcome to my podcast on life and understanding. Today we are speaking about why we should not regret our mistakes. So when I refer to mistakes, I am talking about decisioning mistakes that we would have made in our lives. So when you think about decisions, so I'm going to start reframing early. When you think about a decision that you would have made, especially if you are thinking about a decision you made a long time ago or a few years ago, and you are referring to it and thinking about it as a mistake, the first thing I want to point out is when you made that decision, you would have made it with the best information and knowledge you had at that time. In other words, at that time, when you weighed all the risks, when you weighed all of the possible outcomes for this decision, you came to the conclusion that this was best for you. And I want you to sit and honor that, because going into that decision, whatever you were feeling at that time was true to you and authentic to you. So there is no reason to now look back and think it was a mistake, because you went into it with what you knew at that time. As time moves on, we gather more experiences, we get more information, and it gives us a certain power to look back and judge what we did before. But there is no value or utility in judging a past decision, because you would not have known what is to be. You may have had probabilities, but there was no guarantee that this decision would have resulted in X, Y, Z. Even if someone else was telling you, don't do this or don't do that, as a human, it is your right to have the experiences that will help you grow into the person that you need to become. We don't grow from somebody else telling us not to do something. We may develop a fear of doing it. We may move into it with trepidation. But there is no real growth as a human in our systems, in our emotions, in our mental state from being told to do something, as opposed to experiencing what we were told not to do. Because having experienced it, you may be in a position to help someone else who is going through a similar situation with a different tone, a tone of compassion, a tone of empathy, a tone of love, as opposed to someone who was with you with a big stick telling you not to do something, who had no compassion but just was afraid that you were making mistakes. When we look back at this decision and we look at it with a lens of regret, what we are doing is we are shaming ourselves, we are blaming ourselves, and we are making ourselves wrong for an experience that perhaps we needed in our life, but we just don't know. The reason that you went into that decision, whatever it is, it could be career-wise, it could be something you studied, it could even be a relationship, was because you had a certain focus at that point in time, or you made it based on beliefs that you thought and believed to be true at that time. And there's nothing wrong in that. So when you are looking back, come out of what I call the lounge of I should have. You should have done many things, but it is not fair to shame yourself or to blame yourself for not doing those things when you didn't have all the information at that time. So I'm going to invite you to come out of the lounge of I should have and use that decision that you were previously regarding, maybe as a mistake or as a regret, as a platform to who you can become now. What can you do with that information that you have now? How can you apply now to who you are today to move onto the path that you want or the life that you want? Exploring the information from that lens gives you a mentally and emotionally healthier way in order to decide what you have to do or what is required of you. Because the reason you are thinking about this decision is because there is something that is not going how you want it to go in your life. But the thing is, you can change. Remember, you have the power to change anything that you want. There is some action that you can take. It can be small, it can be several actions, it can be a big action that you can change to change your trajectory. So honor whatever this decision taught you. Look at what it means for you in your life now and what action you can take to get to where you want to be. It is similar, I think of the iPhone when it now came out. iPhone 1, I don't even know what they called it. But Apple didn't sit in the lounge of I should have and beat themselves up about the fact that they created one version and there were better things to do with it. They offered you a second version, they made it better, and consumers either exchanged or purchased that better version. They didn't ask why. Why didn't you just come up with this better version the first time? There was a happy exchange for something better. And I want to challenge you to look at yourself in that way. When you are looking at yourself and you have new information that could make you a better product, if you're likening yourself to the Apple's iPhone story, be open to readily exchanging what it is you need to do in order to upskill yourself or become that higher self that you are seeking. And I know you may say, but Sreshtha, life decisions are different. I can't just in a snap let everything be undone and find my new life that I want or my better life. And I completely honor that. And I want you to bear in mind that when we are thinking about our life, because we look at movies, because we look at TV shows or at a soap opera, where everything happens over years, but in an hour in your mind, or in 8 episodes in your mind, that decisions we need to make doesn't happen in an hour or in 8 episodes or in a season. Decisions in your life will take time. You may have to build skills to make this decision. You may have to build boundaries. There may be things you have to do that may take weeks or months or even a year or a couple of years. There is a period that you may have to go through in order to change your trajectory based on whatever decision it is. Whether it is you studied law and now you realize, wait, no, I don't want to do law. I want to do veterinarian science. You can't today decide I'm no longer a lawyer and tomorrow open your veterinary clinic. You have to go through matriculating, studying, whatever length of time that program is. It takes time. But I want you to give yourself permission and that space and that time to do what you want. And to know that it's okay that your life can't change in a minute. Then you wouldn't be learning anything if 1 minute you recognize your mistake and the next minute everything is suddenly better. You would be losing out on that experience that gave you the power to make a better decision for your life. The other reframe I want to suggest is the whole idea around life decisions. I honestly am not quite sure where life decisioning came from, why we were told that once you select a career, that is seemingly it, or even in partnerships, once you select this person, even though the partnership or the marriage may no longer be the healthiest place for you to be, depending on what's going on, that you stay in it. I want to challenge that. Because if you look at nature, if you look at the sun, the clouds, the stars, none of those things are static in our lives. The earth is constantly moving. The stars move, be it at a distance so we don't realize. The sun in itself spins at a tilt of 7.25 degrees. The sun in itself is not one body. It is made up of different parts that have different rotations within it. Everything around us, the world that we are living, is constantly changing, moving, growing, progressing, getting rid of things that we don't need, like the clouds. They burst when it's too much. They release all of that energy, and then they go back into the whole condensation process and forming a cloud. Everything around us has permission to change and to grow. There are no 2 days where the sun, the cloud, the moon, everything was exactly at that same spot in the sky. So with that, is it fair to just assume that one decision should stick you in one spot for the rest of your life? Is that a fair assumption? If that decision is no longer a healthy place for you to be, is no longer serving your life purpose, is that fair to you? When the earth and nature is showing us that everything has permission and power to change, everything has permission and power to adapt. So I wanted to offer these frames because a lot of us think of things we have done in the past as mistakes, and they really are not mistakes. They are just decisions that you made with the best known knowledge you had at that time, with the beliefs you had at that time. And if you know me, you know I talk about changing your life path through the rewiring of your brain, through the affirmations, through believing what it is you want can be for you. So I want to invite you to think about whatever decision or situation you may be regretting, and to change the frame around it, to look at it for its learning, to look at it as a platform to a better you, a higher you, to decisions to help you in your life. And of course, if you need help, this is where I can come in to get you that emotional breakthrough that you are looking for, to get rid of that emotion in you that holds all this regret, and to give you a plan to move forward. If this resonates with you, I do invite you to book a complimentary emotional breakthrough session with me. It is free of charge, just for making it to the end of this video. And in that session, it will be an hour. I will help you to explore the intelligence behind what you are feeling, what you are going through, and to give you direction, clarity, and a plan to move forward. I will leave the link to that session below. I hope you guys found this was helpful. I do appreciate your comments and your feedback, and I look forward again to seeing you next week. This is Sreshtha, Purposefully Passionate for My Life and Understanding podcast.